The quantum interference detector at Europa Deep Space Observatory wasn't supposed to show negative mass readings. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display, her dark eyes reflecting cascading strings of impossible data. She built half the detection arrays herself. They didn't make mistakes like this. Maya, run diagnostic sequence beta 7. She called to her research partner. Dr. Maya Patel looked up from her own console, brown hands flying across the haptic interface. Already on it. But Sarah, these readings are consistent across all arrays. Whatever this is, it's real. The anomaly had appeared suddenly at the edge of their detection range, near Jupiter's L4 Lagrange point. It registered as a perfect sphere of negative mass, roughly 15 kilometers in diameter. According to every known law of physics, it shouldn't exist. Sarah pulled up the live feed from observatory's primary telescope array. The region appeared empty to visible light, but switching to quantum imaging revealed a shimmering distortion, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. As they watched, the distortion began to pulse with increasing regularity. "It's changing," Maya whispered. "Look at the amplitude variations." The pulses were indeed changing, settling into a pattern that seemed hauntingly familiar. Sarah's eyes widened as recognition struck. "That's a prime number sequence," she breathed. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. It's counting up through the primes. "Natural phenomenon don't do that," Maya said, her voice tight with excitement and apprehension. Sarah was already composing the priority alert to Earth's Unified Space Command. This was what USC had been waiting for since humanity began reaching into space. Definitive proof of non-human intelligence. But as her fingers hovered over the send key, the signal changed again. The sphere of negative mass began to dissipate like fog burning away in morning sun. In its place, something massive started to take form. Observatory sensors struggled to resolve its true dimensions, but initial readings suggested it was larger than anything humanity had ever built. "Maya, are you seeing?" "Yes," her colleague interrupted, furiously working controls. "Recording on all frequencies. Whatever's happening, we'll have it documented." The object continued to materialize, its surface a deep iridescent black that seemed to drink in light itself. It was clearly artificial, its hull marked with precise geometric patterns that pulsed with subtle energy. As the last traces of the negative mass sphere faded, the structure hung motionless against the star field, silent and magnificent. Sarah's hand slammed down on the emergency broadcast override. This couldn't wait for standard protocols. "Attention all USC command stations. This is Dr. Sarah Chen at Europa Deep Space Observatory. We have a Code Omega situation. I repeat, Code Omega. Unknown artificial structure has materialized at Jupiter L4. Structure is approximately 20 kilometers in length with clear signs of advanced technology. Requesting immediate." She broke off as new data flooded her screens. The structure was powering up, its geometric patterns blazing to life with brilliant blue-white energy. And it was broadcasting. The signal cut through all frequencies, clear and strong. Inheritance protocol initiated. Searching for valid recipients. Human civilization detected. Beginning assessment sequence. Sarah and Maya shared a look of mingled terror and wonder. Humanity had just discovered something unprecedented. Or perhaps something had just discovered them. Within hours, Observatory's command center was packed with USC's top officials and scientists, all crowded around displays showing the mysterious structure. Dr. Chen found herself explaining the situation for what felt like the 100th time. "The object appears to be some kind of automated platform or installation," she reported, highlighting key sensor readings. "Its energy emissions suggest incredibly advanced technology, but it's clearly been dormant for an extremely long time. Based on trace radiation analysis, we estimate it's been here for at least 100,000 years." Admiral Helena Reyes, USC's commanding officer for the outer solar system, studied the data with sharp green eyes. "And you're certain it's responding specifically to human detection?" "Yes, Admiral. The signal explicitly referenced human civilization. Moreover, it's broadcasting in multiple Earth languages simultaneously. It seems to have been waiting for us to reach a certain level of technological development. The Admiral nodded slowly. What exactly does it mean by assessment sequence? As if in response to her question, new signals began broadcasting from the structure. These were different, complex packets of technical data, schematics, and what appeared to be historical records. "It's teaching us," Maya said wonderingly, analyzing the incoming data. "These are technical specifications for technologies far beyond our current capabilities. Quantum engineering, dark energy manipulation, gravity control." "It's more than that," Sarah interjected, her voice hushed. "These historical records, they're showing us why it's here. This installation, it's part of something much bigger. A defensive network left behind by an ancient species. They seeded these platforms throughout multiple galaxies before they disappeared." Admiral Rice straightened, her expression grave. "Defensive against what, Doctor?" Sarah pulled up one of the historical records, showing a visualization of entire solar systems being systematically destroyed by something that defied description. A void that consumed light and matter alike. "Against that," she said quietly, "and according to these records, it's still out there. The platform is offering us access to its capabilities, but first we have to prove ourselves worthy of the responsibility." The Admiral was silent for a long moment, weighing the implications. Humanity had just been thrust onto a much larger stage than anyone had imagined, and their performance would determine not just Earth's fate, but perhaps that of entire galaxies. "How long?" she asked finally. Sarah checked the incoming data stream. "The assessment sequence will take approximately 3 months. After that, it's up to us." As if emphasizing her words, the platform pulsed with brilliant energy, its ancient systems continuing to awaken. Humanity's greatest test was about to begin. The stellar horizon cut through space toward Jupiter's L4 point, its experimental quantum drive humming with barely contained power. As humanity's most advanced vessel, it had been immediately dispatched to investigate the ancient platform. Dr. Sarah Chen watched through the observation deck as the massive structure grew larger in their view, its black surface still pulsing with mysterious energy patterns. "Approaching final approach vector," announced Captain David Torres from the bridge. "Dr. Chen, are you receiving any new transmissions?" Sarah checked her portable quantum interface. The platform's output remains consistent. It's still streaming technical data, but she hesitated. "There's something new. It's requesting direct communication." The ship's bridge crew fell silent. For the past week, the platform had only broadcast pre-recorded messages and data packets. This would be humanity's first real-time interaction with whatever intelligence controlled it. "Put it through," Torres ordered, his dark features tense with anticipation. A voice filled the bridge, neither male nor female, carrying an otherworldly harmonic quality that made it sound both ancient and timeless. "Welcome, children of Earth. You have arrived sooner than projected. This shows promising initiative." Sarah stepped forward. "I am Dr. Sarah Chen from Europa Observatory. We've been studying your transmissions." "Yes," the voice interrupted smoothly. "Your analysis methods are crude but effective. You have already decoded 17.3% of the technical data sent. This exceeds minimum requirements for direct interaction." Captain Torres joined Sarah at the communication station. "We have many questions. Who built you? Why were we chosen?" "Those answers require context you do not yet possess," the voice replied. "Physical interface is recommended for optimal information transfer. You may dock at the designated coordinates." Geometric patterns along the platform's surface shifted, revealing a massive docking bay. The structure was clearly designed to accommodate vessels far larger than the stellar horizon. Admiral Reyes, who had insisted on personally overseeing this mission, made the decision. "Take us in, Captain, but maintain defensive readiness." As the ship maneuvered into the ancient docking bay, Sarah studied the interior with wonder. The walls seemed to be made of the same light-drinking material as the exterior, but here they could see intricate patterns flowing beneath the surface, like circuits made of liquid starlight. Artificial gravity and atmosphere detected, reported Dr. Maya Patel from her station. The composition is perfect Earth normal. It's exactly matched to our requirements. It's been adapting to us, Sarah realized. Everything we're seeing has been reconfigured for human use. A landing party was quickly assembled. Sarah and Maya for scientific expertise, Admiral Rice for command authority, Captain Torres for security oversight, and Dr. Marcus Wong, their leading xenotechnology expert. As they stepped onto the platform's deck, their boots meeting the otherworldly surface with metallic clicks, Sarah felt a subtle vibration through her feet. The entire structure is alive with energy, Marcus observed, checking his instruments. These power readings, they're off any scale I've ever seen. They followed a path of softly glowing lines that appeared beneath their feet, leading them deeper into the platform. The corridors seemed to shift and reconfigure themselves as they walked, as if the entire structure was a single massive organism adapting to their presence. They emerged into a vast chamber that defied comprehension. The walls displayed what appeared to be real-time views of different galaxies, while at the center, a complex holographic interface hung in the air, displaying symbols and diagrams that shifted and changed continuously. "This is the primary control nexus," the voice announced, now seeming to come from everywhere at once. "From here, the chosen inheritors will learn to wield the Aegis network." Aegis network? Admiral Rice questioned. "The defensive grid of which this platform is merely a single node. 10 million years ago, the precursors foresaw a threat to all life in the universe. They created the network as their response, seeding platforms like this one throughout space, each waiting for worthy civilizations to claim them." Maya stepped closer to one of the galaxy displays. "These are live feeds. How is that possible across such distances?" "Quantum entanglement on a cosmic scale," the voice replied. "Distance is irrelevant to the network, just as the threat we face ignores the normal limitations of space and time." Sarah felt a chill as she recalled the historical records they'd received. The void that consumes worlds. It's real. The entity, as the precursors named it, is very real. It has already consumed countless galaxies, breaking down the fundamental forces that bind reality together. The network was built to stop its advance, but requires conscious, intelligent operators to function. "Why us?" Captain Torres asked the question they were all thinking. "Surely there are more advanced civilizations out there." The chamber shifted, displaying a new set of images, Earth's history, from the first primitive tools to their latest achievements in space. "Your species possesses a unique combination of traits: technological innovation, adaptability, and most importantly, an unstoppable drive to survive against overwhelming odds. The precursors believed such qualities were essential for the network's operators." Admiral Reyes stepped forward, her bearing proud but cautious. "You're asking us to fight a battle on a cosmic scale, using technology we barely understand, against an enemy that defies description. Why should we accept this responsibility?" The voice seemed to carry a note of approval at her question. "Because the entity has already detected your civilization. It comes. Not today, not tomorrow, but it comes. The only choice you face is whether to stand defenseless, or to take up the weapons we left for you." The chamber darkened, and new images appeared, detailed schematics of the platform's capabilities. They showed a weapon system of unprecedented power, able to channel the energy of entire stars into focused beams of destruction. "This platform is designated Solar Forge," the voice continued. "It is capable of converting solar energy into weapons that can shatter planets or create defensive barriers around entire star systems. But its true power lies in its connection to the network. Once fully activated, it can link with other platforms, combining their strength against the entity." Sarah watched as the schematics shifted, showing how the platform could transform, its 20-kilometer length reconfiguring into different configurations for various combat and defensive scenarios. The technology was centuries beyond anything humanity had achieved, yet somehow felt intuitive, designed to interface naturally with human thought patterns. The assessment period has been accelerated due to detected entity activity in neighboring galaxies. The voice announced, "You have 3 months to learn basic operation protocols. After that, initial contact with entity forces is probable." Admiral Rice turned to her team, her expression resolute. "It seems we don't have much choice. Dr. Chen, Dr. Patel, Dr. Wang, you'll coordinate with your respective teams to begin studying this technology immediately. Captain Torres, establish a secure communication link with USC Command. We need to brief Earth's leadership on our situation." As the others moved to their tasks, Sarah remained standing before the holographic interface. The symbols seemed to reach out to her, calling to something deep in her mind. She raised her hand, and the interface responded, symbols swirling around her fingers like cosmic butterflies. "The network responds to you strongly," the voice observed. "This is favorable. We begin now." The chamber hummed with power as humanity's crash course in cosmic warfare began. They had 3 months to master technology it had taken the precursors millennia to develop. The future of Earth, perhaps of all reality, would depend on their success. 2 months into their training, Sarah Chen had stopped counting the number of times she collapsed from mental exhaustion. Learning to interface with the Solar Forge's systems pushed human consciousness to its absolute limits. She sat in her quarters aboard the platform, watching Jupiter's eternal storms through a quantum viewport that could focus on any detail of the massive planet at will. "Your neural patterns are showing signs of strain," the platform's AI announced. They'd taken to calling it Atlas, though it had never confirmed if it approved of the name. Recommended rest period: 6 hours. Sarah ignored the suggestion, pulling up another set of tactical simulations. "Show me the graviton cannon sequence again. I almost had it last time." The air filled with complex patterns of light, representing the intricate dance of subatomic particles required to convert solar energy into weaponized gravitational waves. As she reached out with her mind, interfacing through her newly installed neural implant, she could feel the massive energies at play, could sense how to shape and direct them. A soft chime announced a visitor moments before Maya entered, carrying 2 steaming cups of coffee. "You're going to burn out if you keep this pace up," she said, handing one to Sarah. "We don't have a choice," Sarah replied, taking a grateful sip. "The entity's getting closer. Atlas, show her the latest long-range scans." The tactical display shifted, showing the edge of the Milky Way. Dark spots marked where entire star systems had gone silent, creating a pattern of advancement that couldn't be natural. "It's moving faster than initially projected," Maya observed, her face grim. "How many systems have we lost?" 47 in the past week. At this rate, it'll reach the Orion Arm within 8 months. Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Admiral Rice's voice filled the chamber. "All senior staff to the command nexus immediately." They found the command nexus crowded with both platform crew and holographic representatives from Earth's major powers. The tension in the air was palpable. "The Chinese delegation has expressed concerns about command structure," Admiral Rice was saying as they entered. "They feel that current protocols give USC too much direct control over the platform's capabilities. The Solar Forge is humanity's best defense against extinction," Captain Torres argued. "We can't afford to politicize it." "With respect, Captain," the Chinese ambassador's hologram interjected, "a weapon of this magnitude cannot be controlled by any single nation or alliance. We propose a joint command structure with equal representation from all major powers." Sarah stepped forward, frustration overriding protocol. "The Solar Forge isn't a weapon you can command through committee. It requires deep neural synchronization. Every moment we spend arguing about control is a moment we're not preparing for the entity." "Dr. Chen is correct," Atlas announced, its voice silencing the debate. The entity's advance has accelerated. New data suggests its consciousness may be aware of the Solar Forge's reactivation. It perceives us as a threat. The holographic display shifted, showing a massive star system at the galaxy's edge. As they watched, darkness crept across it like ink in water, stars winking out one by one. "This is happening now," Atlas continued. "The entity is no longer following its standard consumption patterns. It's choosing targets strategically, destroying systems that could serve as future defensive positions." The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. "It's intelligent," she whispered. "Not just consuming mindlessly, it's actively planning ahead." "Worse," Maya added, studying the data streams. "It's learning. Look at the efficiency increase in its consumption rate. It's adapting its methods based on each system it destroys." Admiral Rice turned to the assembled representatives. "Ladies and gentlemen, we no longer have the luxury of debate. The entity isn't just coming, it's accelerating because of us. Either we stand united, or we fall divided." The command nexus erupted in argument, but Sarah barely heard it. She was focused on the tactical display, watching the pattern of the entity's advance. Something about it nagged at her consciousness. "Atlas," she called out, "overlay the entity's path with known Aegis network platforms." The display shifted, adding glowing points representing other platforms like the Solar Forge. The pattern suddenly became clear. The entity was systematically targeting systems that contained dormant platforms. "It's trying to eliminate the network before we can activate it," she announced, her voice cutting through the chaos. "It knows what we're capable of. It's faced the network before." The revelation brought sudden silence to the chamber. Admiral Rice approached the display, studying it intently. "How many platforms remain in our sector?" "3 within activation range," Atlas replied. "But they require conscious operators, like the Solar Forge. Humanity must learn to operate multiple platforms simultaneously to establish an effective defense network." Captain Torres stepped forward. "How long would it take to train additional crews?" 3 months minimum for basic operations, but there is an alternative." Atlas paused, as if considering its next words carefully. "The Solar Forge contains protocols for accelerated neural evolution. It would allow human consciousness to expand, to operate multiple platforms through quantum entanglement. But the process has never been attempted with your species. The risk of mental collapse is significant." Sarah felt everyone's eyes turn to her. As the most advanced student of the platform systems, she would be the obvious candidate for such an attempt. The weight of the decision pressed down on her like a physical force. "How significant is the risk?" she asked. 37% chance of permanent neural damage. 22% chance of death. But if successful, you could coordinate the entire local network alone. The advantage in response time and tactical coordination would be substantial. Admiral Rice shook her head. "It's too dangerous. We can't risk." "I'll do it," Sarah interrupted. She turned to face the assembled leaders. "But on one condition. While I'm undergoing the procedure, you will all sign a binding agreement. The network operates under unified human authority, not individual nations. We face this threat as one species, or we don't face it at all." The chamber was silent as the implications of her ultimatum sank in. Humanity's best chance at survival now hinged not just on mastering alien technology, but on overcoming their own divisions. Maya grabbed her arm. "Sarah, you can't." "I can. I have to." She turned to Atlas. "Begin the preparation protocols. And you," she addressed the assembled representatives, "have until the procedure is complete to reach an agreement. After that, it might not matter anyway." As the chamber erupted in urgent discussion, Sarah felt a strange calm settle over her. The path ahead was clear, even if it might lead to her destruction. Sometimes survival required walking straight into the fire. Atlas's voice spoke privately in her mind. "The procedure can begin within 6 hours. Are you certain of this course?" Sarah watched the tactical display, where more stars were vanishing into the entity's advance. "Yes, It's time to show this thing why they chose humanity for the network. The ancient platform hummed with power, preparing for a procedure that would either unlock humanity's next evolution or claim its first sacrifice in the war to come. The neural evolution chamber pulsed with ethereal light, its ancient machinery weaving strands of quantum energy around Sarah's suspended form. Maya watched through the observation window, her hands clenched tight enough to leave marks on her palms. They were 6 hours into the procedure, and Sarah's neural patterns had already changed beyond anything recognizable as human. Second quantum threshold achieved, Atlas announced. Neural architecture expanding at predicted rates. Beginning final phase of consciousness integration. Admiral Reyes stood beside Maya, her usual commanding presence softened by concern. How much longer? Final phase requires approximately 2 hours, Atlas replied. However, I must report significant activity at the galaxy's edge. The entity has increased its consumption rate by 300%. The tactical display showed the truth of Atlas's words. Entire star clusters were vanishing into darkness, the entity's advance now visible, even without time-lapse enhancement. It was as if their preparations had sparked a desperate hunger in the cosmic horror. It knows what we're attempting, Captain Torres said, studying the patterns. It's trying to reach us before we're ready. A new alert flashed across the displays. Maya rushed to the console, her eyes widening at the data. The other platforms, they're activating. But how? We haven't even reached them yet. Sarah. Admiral Reyes breathed, understanding dawning on her face. Her expanded consciousness, she's reaching them through the network. Inside the chamber, Sarah's body arched as waves of energy pulsed through her. Her mind, now stretched across vast distances of space, touched the sleeping platforms. One by one, ancient machines stirred to life, responding to her call. Platform Helios Prime online, Atlas reported. Platform Nova Sentinel responding. Platform Starforge activating. Local network achieving primary sync. Maya stared at the readings in awe. The power output, it's beyond anything we've recorded. All 4 platforms are linking, creating some kind of unified field. Quantum shield matrix, Atlas corrected. The network's primary defensive capability. But this level of coordination should not be possible for a first-time operator. Sarah Chen's neural adaptation has exceeded all projected parameters. In the chamber, Sarah's eyes snapped open. They glowed with the same ethereal light that filled the chamber, her consciousness now existing in multiple places simultaneously. When she spoke, her voice echoed with harmonics that hadn't existed before. I can see it, she said, her words carrying through the network's communication systems. I can see everything. The entity, it's not just consuming. It's corrupting the fundamental laws of physics themselves, turning ordered space into chaos. Admiral Reyes stepped closer to the chamber. What else can you see, Doctor? The other platforms. They're not just weapons. They're keys. The precursors built a lock across reality itself. And the network. It's the only thing holding it closed. The entity isn't just an invader. It's what exists outside our universe, trying to break in. The implications sent a chill through the command center. They weren't just fighting for survival. They were guardians of reality itself. Final neural integration complete, Atlas announced. However, Sarah Chen's consciousness has evolved beyond predicted patterns. She has accessed sealed archives within the network. Archives that even I cannot access. Sarah's body slowly descended in the chamber as the procedure ended. Maya rushed to help her friend stand, but stopped short when Sarah raised a hand. The air around her rippled with barely contained energy. The precursors didn't disappear, Sarah said, her voice carrying the weight of ancient knowledge. They ascended, and they left us the tools to follow them. But first, we have to prove we can face what they faced. We have to stop the entity. She walked to the command nexus, every step leaving traces of quantum fire in her wake. The tactical displays responded to her presence, showing new layers of information that had been hidden before. "We have less time than we thought," she continued. "The entity isn't just advancing. It's creating breaches in space-time. If it reaches the Sol system, it won't just destroy Earth. It will unmake everything we know about reality." Captain Torres studied the new tactical data with growing concern. "How do we stop something that powerful?" "We don't stop it," Sarah replied, her enhanced consciousness calculating possibilities faster than any computer. "We trap it. The network isn't just a defensive system. It's a cage. One that requires living minds to operate. That's why they chose us. Human consciousness, properly evolved, can perceive and manipulate quantum states that artificial intelligence cannot." She turned to Admiral Reyes, her glowing eyes intense. "We need to evacuate all non-essential personnel from the platforms. What we're about to attempt will rewrite the laws of physics in this sector of space. Anyone not directly linked to the network could be changed." "Changed how?" Maya asked, worried for her friend's state of mind. "The same way I've been changed. Evolution isn't just biological. The precursors discovered that consciousness itself could evolve, could learn to manipulate the quantum fabric of reality. They seeded the platforms to find species capable of making that leap. The entity attacks now because it knows we're ready." Admiral Reyes straightened, years of command experience helping her adapt to the impossible situation. "How long do we have?" "At its current rate of advancement, 36 hours. We need to coordinate with Earth's quantum physics teams immediately. The network can provide the power, but we need human minds that understand the underlying principles. We're about to attempt something that's never been done by our species." "Which is?" Torres asked. "We're going to create a quantum singularity that exists in every point in space simultaneously. A trap made of altered physics itself. But if we make even one mistake in the calculations," she didn't need to finish. Everyone understood that they were about to risk everything on a single desperate gambit. Maya looked at her friend, seeing both the Sarah she knew and something new, something that hummed with the power of ancient stars. "What do you need from us?" Sarah turned to the tactical display, her enhanced mind already plotting courses through quantum possibilities. "Get me every physicist who's ever worked on quantum entanglement theory. We have 36 hours to understand concepts that took the precursors millennia to develop." "And Atlas?" "Yes, Sarah Chen. Show us everything about the entity's last encounter with the network. We need to know exactly how it thinks, how it moves. We only get one chance at this." As the command center erupted into activity, Sarah allowed herself one moment of pure human emotion. Fear mixed with determination. She could feel the entity at the edges of her expanded consciousness, a void that hungered for all of existence. But she could also feel the strength of humanity behind her, minds ready to grasp concepts that should be impossible for their species. The final test was about to begin. The void between stars rippled as reality itself began to tear. Sarah Chen, her consciousness spread across 4 ancient platforms, felt the entity's approach like a cold wind against her expanded mind. 28 hours of preparation had led to this moment, and humanity would only get one chance. "Multiple breaches detected," Atlas announced. "Entity manifestation in 3 minutes." In the command nexus of the Solar Forge, Maya coordinated with quantum physics teams from Earth. Hundreds of the planet's brightest minds worked in parallel, running calculations that would have seemed impossible days ago. "Quantum matrix is stable," Maya reported. "All 4 platforms are in perfect sync." Sarah's enhanced consciousness touched each platform simultaneously, feeling their ancient power thrumming through her being. The Helios Prime platform near Saturn, Nova Sentinel at the Kuiper Belt's edge, Starforge by Neptune, and their own Solar Forge. Together, they formed a tetrahedral pattern in space, ready to create something unprecedented. "Entity breakthrough in 60 seconds, Atlas warned. "Scale of manifestation exceeds all previous encounters." Through the platform's sensors, Sarah watched as space itself began to fold. Stars disappeared not into darkness this time, but into a writhing mass of impossible geometries. The entity had evolved too, learning from each system it consumed. All non-network personnel have been evacuated to safe distance. Admiral Rice confirmed from her position on the emergency command ship. Dr. Chen, whatever you're going to do. I understand, Sarah replied, her voice carrying harmonics of quantum fire. Maya, initiate the sequence. Maya's hands flew across the control interface. Quantum singularity generation beginning. All platforms responding. Sarah felt the power build through the network, unlike anything humanity had ever wielded. Each platform began generating a specialized quantum field, precisely calibrated to create a new type of space-time. The entity burst through into normal space, its form defying description. A living void that twisted reality around itself, neither matter nor energy, but something that consumed both. It spread across the solar system like a cancer in reality's fabric. Now, Sarah commanded. 4 beams of pure quantum energy lanced out from the platforms, meeting at a precisely calculated point in space. Where they intersected, reality began to curve and fold, creating a singularity that existed in all points of space simultaneously. The entity reacted immediately, trying to corrupt the quantum fields with its chaos. Sarah felt its attack like acid across her expanded consciousness, but she held firm. Years of human scientific understanding, combined with the network's power and her evolved mind, gave her the strength to maintain the impossible geometry they were creating. Entity is responding to the quantum trap, Atlas reported. It's attempting to breach containment. Sarah pushed harder, channeling more power through the network. Maya, begin Phase 2. On Earth and throughout the solar system, hundreds of quantum physicists worked in concert, feeding new calculations into the network. They were attempting something the precursors themselves had never tried, not just containing the entity, but fundamentally changing the laws of physics within the containment zone. The entity fought back, its power threatening to overwhelm even the network's defenses. Sarah felt her enhanced mind straining against forces that could unmake stars. We're losing containment in Sector 7. Maya shouted. The quantum fields are destabilizing. No, Sarah growled, pushing beyond what should have been possible. Humanity didn't come this far to fail now. She reached deeper into the network, accessing knowledge the precursors had hidden in its depths. In that moment, she understood why they had chosen humanity. It wasn't just their technological potential or their adaptability. It was their fundamental nature. A species that had clawed its way up from the mud, that had looked into the cosmos, and declared it would not only survive but thrive. Sarah opened herself fully to the network's power, letting it flow through her human consciousness in ways its creators had only theorized. The quantum singularity responded, its structure shifting to match her will. The entity sensed the change, and for the first time, Sarah felt something new from it. Fear. All platforms, full power, she commanded. Maya, execute the final sequence. Energy beyond measurement poured through the network as all 4 platforms fired simultaneously. The quantum singularity expanded, not in normal space, but in all possible spaces at once. The entity tried to escape, tried to corrupt the laws of physics themselves, but found itself caught in a trap built from the very fabric of reality. Containment fields holding, Atlas reported. Entity compression at 60%, 80%. Sarah felt the moment approaching. The point of no return. With her evolved consciousness, she could see the quantum mathematics playing out like a beautiful, deadly dance. The entity's own power was being turned against it, compressed into a space where the laws of physics themselves would hold it prisoner. Final compression in 3, 2, 1. Reality flickered, twisted, and snapped back into place. Where the entity had been, there was now only a small quantum anomaly, a perfectly contained paradox that would serve as its prison for eternity. Entity containment successful, Atlas announced. Threat level reduced to 0. The network has achieved its primary directive. Sarah allowed her consciousness to return to normal space, though she knew she would never be fully human again. The power of the network had changed her, showing her potentials that humanity had only dreamed of. Maya rushed to help her friend stand as Sarah's physical form manifested fully in the command nexus. "Did we really do it? Is it over?" "This battle it is," Sarah replied, her eyes still glowing with quantum fire. But the entity wasn't unique. There are others out there, other threats to reality itself. That's why the precursors left us the network. They knew humanity would need to evolve, to become something greater. Admiral Rice's hologram appeared in the Nexus. The quantum physics teams are analyzing the data. What we achieved today, it changes everything we thought we knew about physics, about reality itself. That was their gift to us, Sarah said, watching the platform's energy patterns pulse in harmony. Not just the tools to defend ourselves, but the knowledge to grow beyond what we are. The network isn't just a weapon. It's an invitation to join something greater. She turned to Maya, smiling despite her exhaustion. We proved ourselves worthy of the precursor's legacy. Now we have to prove worthy of what comes next. And what's that? Maya asked. Sarah looked out at the vast expanse of space, feeling the quantum potential humming through reality itself. Evolution, not just of our bodies or our minds, but of our entire species. The precursors showed us the path. Now we walk it on our own terms. The 4 platforms pulsed with power, their ancient systems now fully awakened and bound to humanity's destiny. They had faced their trial by fire and emerged transformed. The entity's prison would stand as a testament to what humanity could achieve when pushed to its limits. And somewhere, in dimensions beyond normal space, Sarah sensed other platforms awakening, responding to humanity's victory. Their journey was just beginning. The stars beckoned, not just with their light, but with the promise of what humanity would become.